I pray you, from your book, which you have written.
Right. So, guys, do you remember the context of this verse? This is from the sin of the golden calf when Moses is trying to convince God to forgive the people. And Moses says to God, listen, there are two options. Either you forgive them, and if not, mecheni na misifrecha asher katavta. Blot me out, I pray you. Na misifrecha asher katavta. From your book which you have written. So, God is, hearing Moses, okay? And even though God forgave the people, all of the commentators say, listen, when Moses says something, even if it's not fully realized, even if it is conditioned, okay, then it cannot be completely neglected. So God is acting upon Moses' instruction, Mechenina misifrecha asher katavta. And the weekly portion of Tetzaveh is the only weekly portion in the books of Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers where the name of Moses does not appear. Obviously, it doesn't appear in the whole book of Genesis because Moses is not born yet. And in the book of Deuteronomy, we do have like a few weekly portions where Moses is not mentioned because he's the speaker generally. But in the narrative of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, from the point that Moses is born, okay, his name is always there, okay, because such a great prophet, such as Moses, when he says something, his words are binding. Okay, so the impact of his word resulted in not mentioning him in this weekly portion, which gives, as we said, more place for Aaron. So Aaron, or the garments of Aaron, do get more place in this weekly portion, and allows Aaron to take center stage, if you will, in a way that gives Aaron the leading role, or at least the leading mentioning in this portion, without Moses' overwhelming presence. And it's amazing because this is the weekly portion that we read on the week when Moses, when we commemorate the passing and the birth date of Moses. So this week we have celebrated or mentioned the 7th of Adar. What is the 7th of Adar? It's both the birth date and the Yortzeit. Yortzeit is a Yiddish term for yearly time, yor being year and zeit being time, of a passing of an individual. And the 7th of Adar is the date of the passing of Moses. It's a special date. It's a special date adopted or embraced by none other than Jewish undertaker societies. Why? Anyone wants to guess why Jewish undertakers societies adopt this day as their celebration day? Why the passing of Moses would be a special day for undertakers?
Would be one of the days where they don't have a job.
Statistically, I'm sure they do work both, in 7th of Adar. But who was the undertaker for Moses?
Hashem.
Right, God was the undertaker of Moses. So this is their day where they say,
Okay.
"Oh, we're doing
Yeah.
God's job." God was the undertaker for Moses, so that's the day they started with fasting, and then after fasting, they have a big feast. When they finish that day of fasting and self-reflection. So anyone who's planning on being a Jewish undertaker, know that your holiday is 7th of Adar. Also adopted by the IDF as the day for soldiers who's like the unknown soldier, when a soldier dies and you don't know where. Okay, so if you're KIA, killed in action, and nobody knows where you are, okay, they don't know where you're buried, the special day for those soldiers is on the 7th of Adar. Again, why? Why, guys?
Because
Because nobody knows where Moses's body is, only the
Right,
Lord.
Betsy. Very good. It's like I told you the answers ahead. Did you? Very good. I didn't, by the way, guys. It's all Betsy. Very good. Good work. So the 7th of Adar was adopted by the IDF to be that day for soldiers whose falling place is unknown, and all based on the passing of Moses, which we've mentioned this week. And this is why Moses is not mentioned in the weekly portion. Now, there is a lot of in this context, a lot of interesting ideas. I'll just share one. Okay, one of the rabbis said that indeed Moses said, "Mecheni na misifrecha asher katavta," blot me out from the book that you have written. And God didn't want to do it. Okay, God didn't want to do it, so he held up and held up and held up and procrastinated, and until he came to the week before. Moses, he finished the year with all the weekly portions, and then he came to the week before. Moses says, "Oh, I don't have any choice. That's the last portion before we read it again. So I have to blot Moses out from a weekly portion. So I will blot him from the weekly portion preceding his own statement. Take me out from your book." That's one interesting story or educational story of how the weekly portion of Tetzaveh gets to be the one where Moses is blotted out. Obviously, Moses is willing to sacrifice himself, and that's leadership through self-sacrifice. Again, a principle that is more emphasized in Christianity, I would say, but it exists to an extent in Judaism as well. I would also mention something cute. I'm not big on Gematria. You know that Gematria is the alphanumerical value of letters. I don't think it is a legitimate tool in the genuine understanding of Torah. That's my opinion. It's nice as an ornament. It's nice as it's not dinner. It's dessert, it's candy, it's nice, but it's not the dinner when it comes to understanding Torah. What is the alphanumerical value of the letter Kaf, guys?
20.
20. Very good. So, Mecheni na misifrecha, the 20th weekly portion, like book. It's not full book, but weekly portion. The 20th weekly portion of Torah, if you start counting from Genesis, Bereshit, Noach, Lech Lecha, so forth and so on, you get it to the 20th weekly portion, which is Tetzaveh. So, blot me out from the 20th book, from the 20th parasha. Again, I'm not big on this, but it's nice. It's a nice story. It's a nice Gematria. It's a nice way to remember these things. So that's that. One quick grammatical remark. Note that we have now an ellipsis of the apodosis. We have a sentence, okay, and we have the protosis, the condition, im tisach hatatam, but we're missing this part. We're missing the apodosis of this conditional sentence. You can see that the translator added it in English, and to be fair, they added it in brackets. If you forgive their sin, im tisach hatatam, well and good. But in the Hebrew text, we don't have that. And it's not uncommon to have an ellipsis of the apodosis in conditional sentence. Okay? So we, as readers, we are supposed to kind of understand based on the context, even if it's not explicitly mentioned. Yes, Georgie?
Just going back to the Gematria, is it because of the later development of Kabbalism that it is not having that high knowledge, or like it's not for all?
No, not because of that. I simply don't think that this is when we talk about the basic understanding of Torah, I think that it is more based on the way the people of Israel understood Torah when it was given. And I don't think that it was part of their cultural set of tools when they received the Torah. You know, the idea of Gematria was not part of the set of tools that they used in order to understand texts. So I'm not saying it's not fun, and obviously I'm not limiting God. God can do multi-layered stuff, okay? If every human writer can write in a sophisticated way, obviously God could do that better than anyone. However, when we talk about the understanding of the Bible, we have to think about what would the reader be able to perceive from a text, not what God could have done, but rather, again, when I'm looking at a text, what would be likely understood by the people who received this the Torah in the time of them receiving it. Okay, so that's how I view it. Is it the only way to understand it? Definitely not. Okay, but that's my way of understanding it, and that's what I believe to be the more helpful way in order to understand the message of Torah. Okay, others may have